Hi there, welcome to Lamlam's audiobook novel channel. Today's story is titled, Donavon's Lost Luna. Chapter 2. Alpha Donavon walked towards me, satisfied with the gory sight of the battered wounds on my body. Send them to the maid's room and have them assigned to their various duties except for her, Alpha Donavon said, and I raised my face to look at him. Have her thrown in the dungeon. Treat her the way every person thrown there is being treated and nothing less, he ordered and turned away, leaving me in the hands of the guards. Zuri, my best friend Hart called, but I couldn't afford to get him into the bane of Alpha Donavon. I turned towards his voice and nodded without saying anything. My steps faltered, and it earned me yet another slap behind my head. The coppery liquid metal dripped from my nose, and I was being met with the nonchalance of the guards, who cared less if I died or lived. Behind the cold metals of the dungeon that I was being thrown to, away from the light of the Blue Moon pack, to the dark, shadowy hell of a place, I felt life slipping out of me until the guards opened the bars of the dungeon the next morning. The night before was the worst night of my entire existence. The insect and the sticky wet ground, part of which I was sure was the blood of the previous prisoners held here, including mine. The guard's kick to my shin woke me up from the slumber I managed to fall into. He said no words and just dragged me out back to the face of light. I squinted my eyes to adjust to the bright sunlight of the day. I was being dragged to the maid's quarter and handed to who seemed like the head maid. Have this, she said, and she handed me a clean piece of clothing while leading me to the bathroom. I walked and stripped myself of the clothes I had on before and stared at my reflection in the mirror. A bruised body, pale spots of purple and red bruises on my body. I walked out before the head maid walked to the bathroom, looking clean in the new pair of clothes she'd given me. Except that they covered the scars on my body, I walked nimbly behind her, awed by the beautiful, intricate designs of the pack. A large door opened and I stood still, unsure of whether to follow her inside or to stay outside. She seemed nice, but I was willing to earn myself more strips of cane. She saw my hesitance and nodded for me to come in with her, which I did, and I saw in the room no one else but Donavon. My steps faltered in fear of what he might do again, throw me around the room or make me his slave. Countless bad thoughts ran through my head until I stood in front of him, anticipating his next actions. Lower your glare, princess. No one looks at the alpha in the eye, the head maid said, nudging. I, however, made no attempts to take my eyes away from him, my hatred for him intensifying every minute I stood in front of him. The memories of how he'd made me go through hell in a short span of time made me shiver and tremor at how many more years of pain I was going to suffer at the hands of this man. Lower your gaze. Zuri, you've got too much confidence for a captured princess. Donavon's mocking voice slapped through my facade of courage. You're bearing so much hatred against yourself, Donavon, not me. I'm innocent and so is my father, so I pity the hell of self-hatred you've thrown yourself into, I refuted to his dismay. A guard walked towards me, about to strip me with a cane, and I closed my eyes in anticipation of the lash, but nothing came. I opened my eyes slowly to see him back where he stood. Your father raised you with enough savagery to keep you from losing in the face of danger, but that's not here, princess. You bow and bend to my order. You do what I ask you to without any fucking complaints, he said while standing up from where he sat towards me. His hands roamed my face before I was kicked backward and hit hard in my face, hard enough to have 5 palm prints tear across them. I was forced to sit at his feet and lower my gaze to the ground, as I belonged nowhere but at his feet. I'm a Princess Donavon, my father's daughter, someone's fucking Luna and not a beast like you, I refuted, refusing to succumb to his power of oppression. Strip her of her clothes and have her thrown in the darkest part of the dungeon, with no food or water for a complete day, and bring her out only when she's willing to accept me as her alpha, he said while the guards walked over to lead me away. I, Zuri Lycus, daughter of Alpha Lycus of the Edged Claws, will never, and can never accept you, Donavon, as my alpha, I said, letting myself be dragged away by the rather indifferent guards. The pale contrast of the victorious smirk on his face earlier was enough to soothe my anger at the moment. If only he'd just see the truth and not let himself be blinded by the lies he's been fed, not let his blind anger and rage burn his empire to the ground. I'd seen in the facade of cruelty he put on, there was the prince who watched his parents being murdered in cold blood. Just like I'd seen mine being unalived by him, there was once the kind prince of the Blue Moon Pack. But it was too late now. His rage had burned the edge of the cliff, and what was left was for him to go down. Thanks for listening to Lamlam Audiobooks. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. New chapters drop every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. Stay tuned, because in this story, nothing is ever what it seems. Until next time, keep listening.